Dice, The Beginning by Madam Creepy. So, you want to know my story? I will tell you my story, but I'm going to start at the root of everything by starting out with my curse. You see, when I was 6 years old, my older brother died. Now, you may be wondering how this has to do with the story. Well, when my brother died, I began to see things. My parents thought it was only a phase, but it never stopped. The apparitions never stopped coming. Everywhere I went, they followed me. Everyone in school began to notice, and thus they began to pick on me. They bullied me, they teased me, calling me names. I hated it. I hated everyone in my class, and I wish that they would just go away and leave me alone. But I knew that wasn't going to happen. Years went by, and the torture became worse. I wanted to die by this time. I wanted it all to end. I didn't want to go through life with everyone making my life a living hell. That was when that dreadful day came. School was going through its regular course. Everyone talked about me when I passed by them. Classmates sneered at me when I sat down in my chair. Everything was normal for me until Courtney came into the picture. She came up to me like she normally would, but when she showed me my journal, my heart sank at the mere sight of it. Courtney couldn't help but laugh at me for it. I never thought you were that much of a freak, but now I know you're truly a freak of nature. I quickly reached out to grab my journal, but she moved it away from me. Do you honestly think I will just hand it to you? This has some juicy details that I think the whole school should hear. What you have to say about everyone. I'm sure they'll be so happy to hear that you think that everyone is nothing but worthless trash. Please, Courtney, I don't want anyone else knowing about this. How would you like it if I told everyone about your journal? Well, I keep my diary at home like a normal girl. You use your diary to say all of your freakish experiences and how you feel about us. You are such a big baby. When are you going to grow the hell up and face the facts? You're nothing but worthless trash, and nobody likes you. And quite honestly, it would make everyone feel better if you would just die like you say in your little journal. Nobody likes you anyways. I bet your parents even want you dead. I felt my heart was going to explode. I didn't know whether I should jump on her and rip her face off, if I could, until someone comes and separates us, or have it where I go tell a teacher about the situation. But neither of those would make a difference. She would still tell everyone about my journal. What do you want me to do in order to not tell or show anyone what is in my journal? She smiled at me, then looked at the guys, then back to me. Myself and a few friends are going to the woods to find these stupid pages that John's been talking about. I'm sure your little friends could help us out. Fine, I'll do it, but promise me that you'll keep your mouth shut about my journal or to show anyone my journal. Deal, freak. So, after school ended, myself, Courtney, John, Isaac, and Will all went to the forest. We began to search everywhere, not really knowing what is to come of this worthless hunt. After some time, the sun faded and the moon shined down on us. Courtney and the guys began to argue with each other. Then, all at once, they started to attack me. Everywhere I turned, I would get kicked, punched, or scratched. Either one of them was equally painful at that moment. I screamed on top of my lungs as I tried to fight back, but it was worthless. We were out in the middle of nowhere, and I was outnumbered. It felt like it was an eternity until that one moment I crawled to the tree and ripped something off of it as I tried to get up. The beating stopped, and Isaac grabbed the paper from my hand. "Hey, I think we found a page," he said, half laughing at the mere sight of it. I turned to look at them, and I watched them eyeing at the damn paper. What the hell is this supposed to be? It has no face. It's freakier than the freak. At that moment, my heart sank rock bottom. I stared at it as Courtney and the guys were looking at the paper, making fun of it. I didn't know what came over me, because when I screamed, the four of them looked at me, then behind them, to see that creature. The exact creature that was on the paper, and within that moment, Isaac began to cough up blood as a black thing went through his chest. Courtney screamed and began to run away, dropping everything to the ground, thus revealing my journal. I looked down in fear and quickly grabbed my journal, and I ran for it. I didn't look back, nor did I have the courage to. I kept running, not stopping for anything. As I continued to run, I could hear more screams from Courtney and the others. I didn't care about them. I didn't care what anyone would say about John or the others. I wanted to live. I actually wanted to live and be away from that thing as much as possible. And all at once, everything flashed by me like a lightning bolt. As I tripped over a root, it started to roll down the hill. Then, with a loud thud, the world around me turned dark. When I opened my eyes, I found myself by a lake. I stared at it for a moment, realizing that this wasn't your typical blue or turquoise lake that I have ever seen. No, this lake was blood red. I stared at it in horror. Then a slight coughing sound came into my ears. I looked up and I saw her, Courtney, blood dripping from her stomach, organs tangling out of her as she whimpered in pain. She was barely alive, and I didn't have much time left. All I could do was stare in horror, but the moment of silence that I had with her vanished when a loud buzzing sound came into my ears. Everything began to spin around me, and before I knew it, I saw a girl there, right in front of me, with my hair and my face, with a demented smile on it. As quickly as she appeared, she pushed me into the lake, where I struggled to swim back to the surface. And with doing that, I felt something wrap around my waist, as if it was some kind of rope. But something wasn't right. The next thing I knew, I was pulled up to the surface and was brought up to land. The lake wasn't like it was before, but it was back to a normal lake. I began to cough until I looked up and saw it again, the creature that killed John. I struggled to crawl away from it, but it would only pull me back towards it. This went on for a minute or so. Then I stopped and looked at it. Why the hell aren't you killing me? I said. Nothing, of course, came out of its mouth since it didn't have a mouth, or a face for that matter. Soon I became irritated and started to walk away, hoping that it wouldn't grab my ankle. And as I walked, I felt like it was following me. I turned around. It wasn't there. I looked forward, and there it was. At this moment, I was ready to pull my hair out, but a feeling of dread passed through me. I was guessing this was normal for being around it for so long. As time went by, I began to ignore the sickness and continued on. But that was until I started to vomit my guts out. Why the hell does this have to happen to me? I said under my breath. I looked back, and once again, it was gone. When I looked in front of me, it wasn't there. At that moment, my heart began to race. I looked at my surroundings to see if I could see it, but it was nowhere to be found. I started to become frantic, as if I was some lost child in a mall. I looked everywhere for it. Nothing. I didn't know why I felt scared of being alone in the woods, but for some reason, I felt as if something was going to happen. I continued to walk through the woods until I managed to find a road. I felt a great relief, and as I walked towards it, voices began to echo through my mind. Remembering the hell of the world out there, where I was considered a freak of nature, an outcast. Everything that I hated was out there, and no one was going to truly care if I was gone. My parents will search, but only to show that they're loving parents when they never truly talked to me anyways, or cared for that matter. They were also thinking about sending me away to get some help with my little problem and not see them anymore. Courtney's words echoed through my head, and then all the voices of John, Isaac, and Will, soon followed by my teachers and the principals. Everyone that echoed through my head only said hurtful things to me, and with that, I stopped dead in my tracks. I was one step away from being on that road, and one step away from being back to civilization. I looked down on that road, thinking to myself, why? Why did I want to go back to that torment again? Why did I want to go back, knowing that they'll just blame me for the murders? I looked back towards the forest and saw the creature again, looking back at me. If it had eyes. Then my feet began to move on their own as I walked away from my past and entered my new life. Now, after doing so, I became a proxy. And becoming a proxy, I could hear it talking to me. I learned that its name was Slenderman, and that he was my new master. One that will make sure that no one will ever hurt me again. He gave me a mask and said that it was far different than any mask his other proxies have. Mine, you can only see half of my face, which the others don't really have. He told me that my tasks I was to do were important and that I mustn't screw up. He told me that I was to go back to my hometown and grab the paper that Will had taken and kill him. I was scared, of course, because I never killed anyone, but the thought of him getting away for what he had done to me was unacceptable. So, the following night, I went to his house and quietly snuck into his kitchen. His parents were home, and his sister was probably out with some guy who was getting his A game on, or whatever they say about girls in their beds. I crept upstairs to see one of the doors slightly opened and mumbling voices coming through it. Slowly, I walked towards it, and once I got to that door, I saw a broken boy on that bed in a fetal position. Never had I seen a broken boy before, but the sight of it sent chills down my spine. Not in a bad way, but strangely in a good way. Quickly, I opened the door, and I grabbed his shirt and he yelled out, and then he realized it was me. He said that he was relieved that I was alive and that I could prove to everyone that Slender Man was real. A smile crept onto my face as I listened to his ramblings, and when he stopped, that was when it hit him. He was about to run towards the phone, but I stuck my foot out and he easily tripped over it. I ran towards the phone and threw it out the door. After that, I grabbed him off the floor and into the wall and showed him the knife in front of his neck. Where is the picture? The picture? Detective Winters has it. I gave it to her so that she would believe me, but she must think I drew it. Please don't kill me. I'm sorry for everything I did to you. I won't do it again. I won't even say a word about it. Just please don't kill me. Please. After that, quick slice to the throat, and he was gone. I left my hometown and told Slenderman what I was told, and at first, he wasn't pleased, but he knew that she would come, and she did. I saw her before she died. She looked at me with those same eyes that everyone else had towards me, and yet, I felt sorry for her. And when Slenderman killed her, I grabbed the picture and put it where it belonged, and that was the end of it. Now, you may be wondering, what now? Well, I am still with Slendy. It's shorter and a lot better in my point of view. And the other proxies? And I were fine. But my job was far different than any of theirs. I have more free will. I can go to places outside these woods without my mask. And I have a normal life. The only thing is, it isn't. My job is to actually lure more people who are stupid enough to go into the woods with me and kill them with Slendy and the others. It's too easy for me, quite honestly. People who don't know about your curse really fall into your charms. And speaking of curses, when I became a proxy, they actually left me alone, for they feared that Slendy would catch them, and he of course can see them. And that's what they don't want. I never have to deal with them again. Well, some do come, but it was best to ignore them when you're doing your job. And as for my past, no one cared after I left a letter for them, making them think that the killer killed me. Candace Withers is now dead, and Dice is